Hello again. It is me, Mr. G, the founder and CEO of SOLSET Entertainment, and I'm coming to you live and clear and loud from your friendly neighborhood home with my home.
Yeah, it's a friendly neighborhood home. Chickatone, you know what I'm saying? So, I present to you books with hooks. You dig? So, we've been kind of going through the writing process a little bit, or at least my writing process when I am writing. I started. Oh man, it's too early for the English. It's killing me right now. Woo! All right, back into it. So, as you know, we're back into this. Yes, yes, yes. Back into it again. So, writing your story. Obviously, we had a story that we were starting with, and I'm gonna just do a recap because in that way it'll click in your mind. Like, what are we talking about here, crazy guy? Well, that little seedling, remember that fancy little seedling? I've added to the story, obviously, so I'm gonna jump right into it. On our last episode, I kind of discussed where that story should go or how I felt it should go. Now, was it perfect? No, maybe not. Maybe yes. I don't know. But that was my baby, so I'm just gonna go with it. You dig? And when you're talking about your baby, oh, okay, let's get our type on here. Yep, getting a type on. Gotta log in. Here we go. I've dubbed this story Sherry the Cherry. You know, like a cherry blossom. That's my image. Because I'm going to paint the image to you, essentially what the story is about. I think that's the easiest way to go about this. So, because when I see the story, and that's another thing, depending on how you are as a writer or a person, for me, I see the story more like a movie. It's like a movie in my mind. So, they just kind of fill my mind with this movie. So I close my eyes, boom, I see the movie play out and how everything works out. Now, on the other side of that, trying to like articulate that into words so people can, grasp the imagery and all that wonderful stuff, it's not that easy. Oh, but before I get too deep in this, I have to let you know, today is the 9th, and it is Friday. What? Welcome to the weekend, baby. Ask a friend. We'll come back to that, why that whole ask a friend is such a big deal. But until we get to that point, I'm going to explain the story and what I got so far. So, as you know, last time I just said, hey, it's not perfect. Just write something. Get it out there. Because that's what we're working for. Just write it down. Get it into the universe. And then you can turn it over to people who can help you correct it, critique it, and make it better. Now, writing problems that we run into. So me as a writer, I normally don't do this. Normally I try to just get it out of my head, get it on paper, and run with it. But I kind of rewrote what I had last time. So it's like the story is drastically changed. But that's why I said the whole writing it, you got to just get it out. Because once you get it out, then you can get with people and tweak it and whatever you need to do to make it better. So I'm going to read what I have now. I actually did not save what I had last time. So you would literally have to go to the previous video to see what was done last time. Yeah, life, right, at its finest. So let's get into this. I'm going to read this to you. And, y'all tell me what you think and how you feel about it. And I'll discuss it, actually, my entire vision for how I see this story. And then I'll explain the whole ask a friend. Boom. So, pew! There we go. Sherry the Cherry. A whirling tornado ripped through the scenery, a backdrop comparable to a vacant desert lot, as the wind traveled whirling and twirling, kicked sand recklessly. The smaller portions of the tornado continued to push forward recklessly without account for the environment. The advancement in the distance up. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna just read it. I'm not gonna mess up the flow. Distance. Long, slender trees danced on the oncoming winds. As they maneuvered like ballerinas, gracefully swaying to and fro effortlessly, each of the trees wore a garment of brown, with dainty branches holding up their leaves, as each bounced frantically like butterflies. All the trees varied in height, but only by inches, standing next to each other. The tornado grew stronger and stronger as it drew closer to the plot of trees. The base of the tornado destructively waltzed to the lot. The speed and movement of the trees increased rapidly. Step by step, the tornado finally made its way to the area where the trees stood. As the winds from the tornado moved forward violently, or violating every tree. until it reached the center. All right. So that's what I got right now. So in my vision, how I see this, and this is gonna be weird. I'm gonna close my eyes just a little bit, but I'm gonna paint the picture for you. There's this tornado, and it's moving in, and it's going crazy like a tornado normally does. So you see all the scenery in this vacant area, and within this area, there's only this one little plot of trees, and amongst those trees, they're basically cherry blossom trees. So what's happening? They're just moving slowly with the wind as the wind blows and maneuvers the trees. The trees can only do what the wind allows them to do as they become more frantic, as it moves closer and closer and closer until it finally reaches them. From there, seeds are taken. They're literally ripped away from the trees and they're carried into the breeze far, far away. So the little vacant area that was already there, the lot where the cherry blossoms were, once again, this is already a small area where they're all located, but some of those seeds get taken away and some get dropped. And ultimately, there's that one lone seed that just gets carried off into the distance and just goes with the wind. And as it flies and flutters, eventually it goes so far that it can't see that little plot where all the other trees were that were similar to it. And it lands into this even further place than what it originally was. And eventually the sun or the moon being out in the sky with the wind, rain starts to fall. And as the rain falls, essentially like you see how the raindrops hit the sand and it makes those little craters. Eventually they just hit enough and the rain is strong enough that it buries the seed. So it basically covers the seed in a blanket of water and mud. That seed sits there and the moon is in the sky, and eventually the wind from the tornado fades away. Now the seed is all by itself in the middle of nowhere. There's no one else around it that it can obviously realize is there because it's a seed, a little seedling. So time starts to pass. The moon comes up and it almost like it protects the seed to watch over it, and then the sun, and then the moon, and then the sun, and they constantly go through this cycle of the sun and the moon repetitively coming back and forth. And during this time, eventually a little seedling arm burst from the ground as if it's reaching up to like reach to the sun or the moon, who's pretty much been protecting it during this time that it's been in its seed state. And so from there, eventually it gets to the point where you go forth and this little seedling, there's other little seedlings that sprout around it of different types. But none of them, not even one of those seeds, is similar to this little seedling. So from that point, they all sprout and they start to just grow and they grow together. And this is where the oddity comes in, because now this is the point where the tree would realize it's alive. This is where trees, because remember the initial, oh my gosh, I'm making up words. The initial vision was a Disney / tree story. So now the tree's going to talk. Actually, the seed could have been talking at the beginning, like, no, mommy, I don't want to leave you, as it gets carried away. But, that's once again the nuances. That's why it's good to, friends, synergize, talking to people, sharing your stories just a little bit, just to kind of get a feel if they think it's crazy. Obviously, everybody's not going to be on board, but, ask somebody, do some research, see what's up with get with a writer's group, talk to them like, hey, I think this is a good idea. And they can give you some feedback to make your story stronger. But ultimately, once that little seedling lands, we'll get back to that, and it's all buried and starting to grow, all the other trees around it, they're growing as well. And they all start to grow. But that one little tree, it grows up. And the thing is, when it starts out, it doesn't have a lot of leaves. It's all fragile looking. There is all dainty and weak, and all the other trees are like these giant oak trees. They're starting to grow. They're all sturdy. But in the interim, they pick on it. They're like, oh, you're so fragile. Oh, you're so this. And they don't really give, they don't take that lonely little tree just because it's the only one of its type. They kind of like pick at it as if it's odd or whatever. And that's not cool, obviously, doing stuff like that. But that's how they treat that one little tree. Eventually, humans, us, people, we come in and we see those big, wonderful trees. And the next thing you know, we cut those trees down. Those oak trees are going to become paper and everything else in between. That's what's going to happen to them oak trees. They're going to get cut down. All right. So as they get cut down, the next thing you know, from that point, these oak trees, and this is another point. Oh, sorry. Let me keep going. But anyway, these oak trees, they're getting cut down, and now that little seedling is back, or the tree now, it's a little older because it's a tree, but still it's all alone because all the other trees got cut down. So it's like, what can you do, man? You know what I'm saying? What can you do, man? You know, all the trees are getting cut down. That's not fun. That's not awesome. That's actually pretty not good. And then in the interim, you have to look at the deeper picture. This tree has been all alone. You know, it's alone. It's sad because it wants to be around other trees, you know, and just kind of fit in. It's like, yeah, it's a tree, but obviously it's a different tree, you know. And eventually the tree grows. And as it grows, it starts to, like, really sprout. It blossoms. It starts to actually appreciate itself, you know. Yeah, because this tree is like, I'm a tree. That's all I can be. And it starts to sprout out its freaking lovely little petals, just like the trees before at the beginning, almost. And in my mind, I envision them like ballerinas. Like if you've ever seen a ballerina dance, how they can go from one side of the stage to the next and just kind of dainty as they flow across the stage. That's how I see these trees. They're almost like ballerinas. And this cherry blossom, it just grows to this like amazing thing, but eventually gets to the point to where, and this is a tree, so it's going to have its seeds, it's going to reproduce and everything else. So it's going to drop its little seedlings, you know, because the humans have actually taken a liking to that tree as well. So they build their little park around it. And in their park, people come, children come play, dogs, animals. It's a beautiful sight. You know, it's almost, you know, one of those majestic sights, I guess. You know, what's something majestic like looking at the stars at nighttime? You know, if you've ever done that before, where there's no light pollution, being able to see all the stars like a blanket of diamonds is just, you know, that's the image that I see when it comes to this tree. And it finally grows into like I'm just magnificent, almost like a beautiful woman. But there's no without the scars and the taint, you know, the anger. The anger and the taint, right? Yeah. So with all that, and it's just having that moment where it's grown to be something amazing when it was just being itself. Because sometimes it's that simple, just being yourself, you know, and that's what I want. That's what I would want people to see in the story. Being yourself can be amazing, you know, finding your true calling. Because, yes, this is a tree, but, I mean, it was alone, it grew, it was able to reproduce, and then even when it reproduces, like, and it has little grand trees, and it shelters them, so that would be something that, like, I guess a figure I would place within the story somehow. Because obviously, like I said, I'm not the greatest writer. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I'm not gonna fake the funk. I'm gonna be the truth. That's it. I'm gonna tell you the truth straight up. But the cool thing about it is I can learn and I can learn and I can become better. There we go. I can become better. You know, and over time I'll be a great writer, you know. I'll be one of the, you know, to be a top 10, just to be able to be on people's top 10 list as a writer, a musician, a real estate agent, you know, the top 10. That's all I'm aiming for. Because I'm building an empire. Yep. And this story is going to be amongst that. So, Sherry the Cherry. I think, and sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it in together, but ask a friend. Why? Because obviously your friends can give you new perspective. And I mean, even if you were to explain a concept to them, obviously you're just going to write, do what you have to do to get that story out there. But, you know, continue, just work the story. Is it going to be perfect? No, because remember, like I said, that's why there's all those other wonderful people out there who can help you out, all right? So with that being said, I hope you keep writing and you accomplish your goals with your writing. By the end of this month, Sherry is going to be I think I'm going to be done with this, and I would like to thank you for coming to another episode, you know, SOLSET Entertainment at its finest. Thank you. Subscribe, sucker, and like the video. And if you don't like it, don't like the video, and tell me why you don't like it. Yeah.